The challenge of organizing new members has become even more pronounced in the last several years. That's because of the ongoing legacy of anti-union policies put into place during 2 terms of George W. Bush.
During the Bush years, the Labor Department was run for the employer interest and not for the interest of workers. That gave corporate America the signal that they could be very hard, especially in organizing campaigns where they knew that they could break the law in any way that they wanted to in order to prevent their employees from becoming unionized employees.
As the fate of the Employee Free Choice Act grows increasingly uncertain, and as the economy becomes increasingly global, the BCTGM has recognized the need for creative approaches to growing our union.
It's up to unions to level the playing field on their own unless the laws change in this country where they're fair and where they're balanced. So we've got to become creative. Our research has to be better. Our communication skills must be better than the employer. Our union is only as strong as our association with other unions, not just in this country, but all over the world.
A case in point is the successful campaign to organize more than 500 workers at 2 Dannon yogurt plants, first in Ohio and then in Utah.
The writing was on the wall. We seen it. Management was coming in to make a lot of changes, and those were changes we didn't feel that we could live with.
They'd give us a raise, but then they'd raise our health insurance to where in reality we'd be taking a pay cut in the end. So just things like that kept adding up.
When I come across BCTGM, I noticed how many major companies they were representing, huge companies like Hershey and different ones. So I was sort of impressed by all the different companies they represented, and I did a little bit of reading on them, and I was impressed with what I read.
In January of 2007, Bob Steinke, who had 35 years there, longtime seniority, was the first guy I met, and he had 2 other folks with him. By the time March came around, the meetings were getting a little bit bigger, and management had found out about the organizing campaign. And they first started posting anti-union stuff on their bulletin board and holding meetings saying that they don't need a third party. The company was also removing union literature. Supervisors were removing union literatures from the lunchroom. And this is an unfair labor practice under the National Labor Relations Act. So I had filed unfair labor practice charges with the Labor Board.
But what proved to be a more effective weapon was the BCTGM's affiliation with the 12 million member International Union of Food, Agricultural, Hotel, Restaurant, Catering, Tobacco, and Allied Workers, based in Geneva, Switzerland. Founded in 1920, the IUF, as it is called, is an affiliation of 336 trade unions representing workers in a variety of industries in 120 countries and committed to building international labor solidarity and human rights in an increasingly global economy. Our own President Frank Hurt served as IUF president from 1997 to 2002.
Groupe Danone is actually the parent company of Dannon Yogurt. Their relationships with other unions all over the world is actually very good. Groupe Danone has signed an agreement with the International Union of Food Workers, who the BCTGM belongs to, that they will remain neutral in organizing campaigns. The problem that the BCTGM encountered was American management that worked for Groupe Danone decided that they were going to ignore or even disobey this agreement.
The IUF arranged a series of meetings in both Europe and the U.S. between our union and officials of Groupe Danone.
Once they realized what was going on in the U.S., I believe they stepped up to the plate. They put their foot down and they told the American management, this is not what we do as a global company.
About a week after I filed the charges, their attorney had called me, and they said they didn't want no trouble, that they would settle the unfair labor practice charges. They would post a notice saying that people were allowed to put pro-union stuff up.
But even with a level playing field, there was a lot of work still to be done.
Right off the bat, it was about 50-50 in the plant, I think, because you have a lot of people there that are local, and they've never belonged to a union, so they were unaware of any of the benefits, and they had reservations.
I just kept trying to reiterate to these folks that, I mean, look, I've been here, 6, 7 years. They haven't swung our way on anything. They keep taking away folks, so what, how long do you really want to wait for this?
By July, we had a majority of cards signed up, and we were going for recognition. What I did was get with the people and told them, look, this is your campaign, this is your union. You need to demand recognition.
When we finally got the cards necessary to go ahead and ask for recognition, we went ahead and marched into the plant. I don't know, there was around 100 of us that walked into the front office and demanded our recognition. That was kind of a staple. People started feeling really good about this.
Going back to the day that they asked for recognition, when they walked out, I could see that they were committed. The election was set early December 2007. Workers marched in there, and they won by a vote of 161 to 101. Without the IUF, I'm not sure if we could have won the election. Absolutely. Their efforts helped tremendously.
The next year, several workers at Dannon's West Jordan, Utah plant, who had heard about the success in Minster, Ohio, approached the BCTGM for their own organizing drive. After another lengthy struggle, additional support from the IUF, and pressure on the parent company in Europe, Dannon stopped its resistance, allowing its Utah workers to vote for union representation.
This was really a first, even for me, to be involved in this type of campaign that stretched from Utah to Ohio, from Ohio over to Europe, to Germany, to France. The organizing success in Minster, Ohio was instrumental for us to be successful in Utah because the people actually were seeing the benefits.
There were workers that worked for Groupe Danone in 12 different countries, 16 different unions that wrote letters directly to the workers, giving them courage, telling them to stay strong and do the right thing, to exercise their vote. Without that kind of help, I don't think that either plant would be unionized today.
Like many in the labor movement, we still hope for passage of the Employee Free Choice Act to level the playing field with corporate America. But with or without it, to us, organizing must be like breathing. For collective bargaining success, for our very survival, we must never stop carrying the union's message to our non-union brothers and sisters.